Welcome to another episode of Bricks Garden Book Lecture Series. Today we are discussing on the non-insect pests that we encounter in our urban food gardens. So these are nothing but the pests that are not insects, the pests that are not the microorganisms or fungus, bacteria or something like that. And we will also discuss on how to manage them using natural and organic methods. Based on my experience of urban foodscapes in last 15 years, that I am putting some of these non-insect pests which are very prevalent in urban food gardens. To start with, snares and slugs. So they are very common, but generally they are prevalent in rainy seasons, wet conditions. See, the snares have the hard protective shell on its body. So on the other hand, slugs will not have this. This is the only major difference. Otherwise anatomically they are almost same, or maybe even with behavior, the snares and slugs, they are almost same. So they like gardens because in gardens generally we water regularly. They get some hiding space from the sun, or maybe from the moving wind. Generally what we have observed is, or maybe even in the farmer's field, this is the same situation. So they are active during night, from dusk to dawn. During daytime they hide maybe in the heaps or below the mulches, or sometimes wherever there is, maybe in the corners, if there are some the unused material is dumped, so there they will go and hide during daytime. And they feed on seeds, seedlings, tender shoots, so leaves, because they need all these soft materials to feed. And generally when you go the next day morning in the garden, when you see some irregular holes, or sometimes even those holes with very smooth edges, or maybe the mucus trail going from the containers to the ground or the terrace floor. So you can probably suspect the action of, or the presence of snares and slugs in your garden. So they like the crops like tomato, cucumbers, gourds, peas, beans, like that. Of course, even marigold, like this. Even dahlia, we see during rainy season they are cutting the flowers and leaves of the dahlia plant or the marigold plant. And they do not like anything which is thorny or with rough leaf surface, because probably it punctures their body. They generally won't feed on such kind of plants. So to manage them effectively, so there are maybe one or two steps that we need to follow. One is prevention. So generally these snares and slugs come to our gardens through the compost what we collect from the wet area, maybe compost pits near to the river beds, or maybe near to any of the compost units in your village, or in your spaces. So it is better to collect the compost from uninfested area, or practice home composting, so that there is no question of having infestation of snares and slugs in your garden. Generally they will not be seen on terrace gardens. They are seen in the ground or kitchen gardens. So the compost and manure should be collected from uninfested area. And if you have seen the infestation, or if you are suspecting, so you can keep the medium open to soil during sunny hours, so that it gets dried, and if there are any, they will get dried. Clean cultivation, you should not have weeds, you should not have leaves falling in your garden, so that there is hiding place for the snails and slugs. So keep some wider spacing, so that sunlight falls on the ground, sunlight falls at the base of the plant. The water, that you have to be very careful, because these are the animals which need more water for their survival. So if you are watering, make sure that it is only based on the need of the plant. So unnecessarily don't put water at the plant base. At the same time, don't put water in the garden or on the floor. So that way you can prevent the entry of snares in your garden. So just imagine now somehow the snares and slugs have entered your garden. Then you should think of adding some pungent materials. The snares and slugs do not like this kind of pungent smell or odor in the garden, or they do not like that kind of food. See, basically garlic, onion, or even some of the, even including ginger. So they do not like this kind of very pungent smell. So you can put these peels at the plant base. You can prepare the onion garlic extract and spray on the plants, so that because of this smell, snares and slugs won't come and probably won't infest that plant. So you can think of spraying maybe neem, any neem pesticide on the plant. It is a general spray that we take up on the plants, so that will help to protect the plants from the damage by snares and slugs. So you have to keep spraying something on the plant, and if it is on the ground and it's a kitchen garden, so during rainy season, so you may have to protect the plants with this kind of pungent material, so that snares and slugs do not like that kind of plants. So now somehow this has come, you have to remove so huge numbers, because they multiply in such a huge numbers, that you have to somehow think of eliminating them from your garden. Basically it is generally suggested that you can have a patch of trap crops like marigold. See, snares and slugs both like marigolds very much. They like dahlia very much. So you can plant some marigold plants in one corner, so that all the snares and slugs are attracted to that patch. You can collect it, and probably you can kill by spraying maybe salt solution or sprinkling salt solution, or sometimes even spraying alcohol on them, so you can kill the snares and slugs. So fruits and leaves of certain plants like tomato, cucumber, cabbage, cauliflower, so they are more liked by the snares and slugs. So you can keep few of these leaves or the decaying tomato fruits in one corner, so that all the snares are attracted to that place. You can kill them. You can keep a wet white cloth in one corner of the container, or one corner of the garden, or few corners of the garden, or few places of the garden which is wet. It is looking for the wet material, so it is attracted to that wet cloth, and you can collect next day morning and kill them. Or on this cloth, or maybe gunny bags, that you can put few maybe spoons of jaggery, or maybe sugar syrup made out of sugar and yeast, so that the fermentation happens very fast, and to that kind of fermenting smell, the snares and slugs are lured to that place, and you can kill them. So by sprinkling salt powder and spraying salt solution, that you can collect and kill. So that is the very effective way of managing the snares and slugs in your garden. The next one that we encounter in our gardens, or maybe many times that we gardeners face the problem, is the millipedes. They are generally not a serious pests. They are scavengers, they are saprophytes, they eat on dead organic matter, but sometimes, yes, so they are nuisance. So they can feed on seeds, they can feed on some of the seedlings, may not be on a grown up plant, but yes, as a nuisance, that you need to look at millipedes and the kind of organisms, the animals, but they are simple to manage. So the day that you start using only decomposed compost, well decomposed compost in the garden, they will not come. See, if there is undecomposed compost or the organic matter is there, then only they will come. Otherwise they do not have food in your garden, generally they will not be there in your garden. So it is not a good place for them to survive. Generally they move away. If you don't want them, if you consider that as a nuisance, that you can apply neem cakes fungi cakes. So because of this smell, they are repelled away. And at the same time, you can drench the medium or spray the medium with Neem Shakti at 10 ml per liter. That really helps. Then very important, rats and bandicoots. See, many of us at urban gardens, that we encounter the problem of rats and bandicoots, because we are in such a place where they are not getting sufficient, the rats and bandicoots are not getting sufficient space for them to survive. So they are basically, of course, the pests of kitchen gardens on the ground. So they may not be coming to the terraces. But yes, if there are steps which are not protected properly, and sometimes if there are some pipes touching to your garden, or the trees touching to your garden, from that it can come, jump and damage. So in the ground, that they make deep burrows that we can easily make out, and they sometimes come and disturb the growing medium, pull out all the medium outside. You have to keep put it back again next day morning. The compost bins that they disturb, so they feed on the seeds, plants, fruits. So like that the rats and bandicoots are damaging, and you have to think of managing them. The best way is to protect our plants. So you cannot go on killing them. So prevention is always better. So you can have rat mesh at the entry points. So close all the entry points. Generally they will come from the pipe. See, we have examples that it can reach up to second floor, third floor, even the floors above that. But you have to think of closing all those entry points so that the rats and bandicoots cannot reach your garden. Sometimes if it is on the ground, the filling the burrows with maybe the glass pieces, maybe tube lights or bulbs or something which can puncture their skins. So that kind of materials that you can fill in the burrows, so that they generally do not like that kind of spaces. And the sprinkling chili powder, generally it is suggested, if you can sprinkle chili powder in the root where the rats are coming. So they are more nose active animals. So when it gets into their nose, for some times that they will not come again. They may come after 1 week. By that time you have to sprinkle chili powder once again. There are rat traps. Very effective method of managing rats is using the rat traps. There are different type of rat traps available, and we can use them to trap them, and you can kill them or release them outside the gardens.
This is a simple rat trap device which we can use it at home while trapping the rat. See, this device has got a knob, and we have to clip like this way and keep inside the food particle. For food to keep biscuits or any other food particle, one knob is there, U shape. There you have to hang the food. So a rat smells the food and it comes inside the trap, and while having the food, this automatically it releases and the entry point of the trap closes. So without killing the rat, we can catch it, as well as wherever we want to release it outside the building, we can go and release. Very simple mechanism. Yeah, and very effective way we can catch hold of the rat.
Today in the market we get glue pads. So where again it is almost like rat trap, where the food particle is kept at the center of the glue pads. So rats are attracted, and rats are even bandicoots. So they are attracted to that food particle, and when it reaches there, when it keeps its legs on the glue pad, it is stuck, and it cannot just simply escape. The only problem with the traps, the glue pads, is that rats are very intelligent. They have this bait sense, and once they see their own type dying in this kind of system, next time they will not easily trapped in this kind of traps or glue pads. Then another method of managing rats and bandicoots is using baits. So this is very effective method. Poison baits are available, but that is not the purpose of urban foodscapes. Let us look at some of these safe things which can kill the rats. One is Gliricidia in rice. So Gliricidia is a plant that many of you may be knowing, which is grown as a border plant in our gardens or in our farms. So take about 250 grams of bark of Gliricidia. Gliricidia by name itself is that it is killing rats. That name has come by because of that reason. So the bark can be boiled with a kg of rice, and you can make rice balls, or you can just keep it in different corners of the garden, so that whenever rats and bandicoots eat, and they will be killed. You may not be seeing them because they will be moving away from, but one day that it gets killed, maybe after 24 hours something, in maybe in different places. Similarly, absorbent cotton balls can be made. Absorbent cotton, that you can make small balls of absorbent cotton, and you can just dip it in maybe groundnut oil, coconut oil, or even sugar powder, and you can keep it in different corners of garden. And when rats and bandicoots eat, so it will just bulge in the digestive system, and it cannot be easily excreted or sent out, and the animals, the rats and bandicoots get killed. That this is true with the squirrels also. If the squirrels eat, they also get killed. So that way you have to be careful when you are using this kind of practices in your gardens. Similar is the chuna powder. See the calcium oxide, that what you are using, limestone or chuna, it is burnt, and it is powdered and mixed with maybe Bengal gram flour, and maybe little bit of coconut oil or the groundnut oil, and you can make balls and keep it in different corners of the garden. Chuna also damages the digestive system of the rats and bandicoots, and they are killed very quickly. And the last option probably is, as urbanites, is to have a cat in your house. Anyway, so many of us love to have them as pets. So only thing is that if it can manage the rats and bandicoots, it is really good. Another the addition to a non-insect pest is the monkeys. Particularly now we are seeing their damage so much. So they are basically our ancestors' more destructive mentality. So if they come and eat, probably none of us would have worried, but they come, they destroy and they damage the whole plant. So but you cannot go on killing them. The best method is to manage the monkeys is to have nets and cages in your garden. So probably your plants are protected, the monkeys are saved. So like this, that you so many of our urban gardeners have the cages, maybe nets and cages to protect the garden plants, vegetables, flowers, whatever may be the case, but mostly the monkeys come and damage the vegetable plants. Then the squirrels. So see, if you ask me specifically, that we have not tasted the strawberries, because all the strawberries that what we have grown, they are all eaten by the squirrels, and the squirrels love the strawberries. So all different type of fruits, they may not be eating on leaves and other things, but generally maybe tomato, strawberries, or different type of, even guava. So they eat, and they are the pests. If you are enjoying squirrels, fine. Otherwise, so you can have nets and cages, so squirrels cannot come there. Generally they come to a common route. a very regular route, probably they are just jumping on the parapet wall and coming to your garden, probably moving to a plant where the fruits are there. If you can closely observe that route, in that route that you can sprinkle chili powder. Again, squirrel is a nose active animal, so when it gets into the nose, for some time it won't come, and you have to keep on putting the chili powder, or they may change the route. You may have to observe again and put chili powder in that route also. But the best thing is again to have nets. Then the birds in urban areas that nowadays that we are seeing, mostly the pigeons. The other birds are not that problem, but of course the sometimes parakeets or the other type of birds, they also come and eat on fruit plants or the fruits. But generally pigeons, they eat on the seeds, just sown seeds or the sprouts, so they can just completely damage the crop, or may not allow the crop to come up. So you have to think of managing them. Sometimes they may not eat the flowers or leaves. Again, bird nets are the best options to manage them. So that way, if you specifically ask me as an urban gardener, so having nets or having cages to protect your plants is the best option. For me, see, I am an urban gardener with the balconies where we have put up nets, so that we are protecting our plants with from pigeons. The rats and bandicoots are not a problem. Monkeys are still not a problem. Monkeys come, they do come, but again the nets are there. So that way the non-insect pests, like insect pests, like plant pathogens, they can be yield constraints, but they are more dangerous. See, once a monkey comes into your garden, it can damage the whole of your garden. So they are more destructive compared to insect pests. They are more difficult to manage. So you have to keep observing their entry points and their activity in your garden. So that is very, very important. Non-insect pests, particularly rats, bandicoots, monkeys, can be very destructive in urban foodscapes, but it is very difficult to manage them with certain practices. The best thing is to protect the garden with the cages or the nets. So that helps, and it is my personal experience as well. So some of these practices that I have explained, related to good growing conditions and other practices in our previous episodes. Please watch that YouTube episodes as well on Brix Bio. Thank you for watching this episode.